Agile as a method has evolved. And it's very good at building things in that stage of evolution. But those things, whatever they are, also evolve. And Lean has evolved to become very good at dealing with the stuff in the middle. And Six Sigma has evolved to become very good at dealing with the stuff at the right. So what you've got are multiple meanings of the term project methodology. And these are different competencies of project methodology. They're all project methodology. They're just different competencies. And this thing, whatever it is, has a meaning, but it has different material. So what I mean by that is not the same as that is not the same as that. So the first ever computer is not like servers as a product, is not like servers as a utility. And what you've got are different competencies are good at different material. Make sense? Good, right. So what we try and do is make one competence work everywhere. Oh, great. And we do this by co-opting stuff suited to other areas and smashing it into this to make it the all-singing, all-dancing, it'll work everywhere method. And of course, when you use it, it doesn't work everywhere. And what people say is you use the wrong bits of it. You know, you're over here, you should have been using these bits. Over there, you should have been using, but they never tell you at the beginning. So what we end up with is when it's failed, we say use the wrong bits of the process, i.e. we start blaming the people over the process. And what's Agile all about? It's, well, we start saying the process is right, it's the people are wrong, and Agile is all about people over process. So Agile is fast becoming anti-Agile, or a cult. One of those two. You can pick either, okay? It has a particular material that it's worth, and then people say this to me, we'll do both, we'll become bimodal. Has anybody heard of bimodal? Has anybody been foolish enough to do this? And who's willing to admit it? Right. So back in for Tango, this is how I used to organize. There's me at the top. I used to have CIO, CFO, and different lines of business, well, business devs, ops, so forth. And we used to have lots of fights. And so I thought, well, you know, what we need to do is we need to get people together. So I built small teams. I had product owners. What do you think the net result of that was? Yeah, more fights. Now within these teams. Okay? And I was like, well, what's going on? And then I realized that we were building some stuff which was like novel and new, and some stuff which seemed to be more core. I didn't have mapping at the time. This was about 2003, something like that. And so what I did is I split the organization and all of this into dev core, dev core, dev core, dev core, dev core. So we need two parts. What do you think the net result was? All-out warfare. So what was happening, and I could explain it a year later when I had mapping, is core was building these new core services, and dev was building new proposals on top. That stuff was evolving, and then dev would go to core and say, you look after this. And core would go, where's the documentation? And they would go, burn him, heretic, blah! And so what would then happen is dev, nothing was evolving, dev would go and build new things on top of dev. And so what was happening was I was getting increasing instability in this system and all-out warfare between the groups because I had this missing middle. That bit in the middle, which sort of had existed before I'd basically taken my structure and polarized it, I diminished it. You are either core or dev. There was no one in the middle. So I reorganized the entire company into chief pioneers, chief settlers, chief town planners, because I realized I need 3 critical types of attitude, 3 critical different types of people. It didn't matter whether it was engineering, marketing, finance. And so what we ended up was attitudes going across, like finance and marketing, and attitudes going up and down. So now we'd build products, product owners and small teams, all with the same attitude. And then what would happen is we introduced what was known as the system of theft. So the Settlers would invade the pioneering group. So the pioneers are doing something exciting, and the settlers were really good at taking exciting and making it really useful. So they would invade and steal it, forcing the pioneers to get on with more pioneering. And then the town planners, seeing their settlers' product becoming successful, would come in and steal it because the town planners were great at industrializing things. They're like the Amazons of this world, brilliant at that sort of stuff. So what we introduced was the system of theft, which worked very well, and the fight stopped. Now, in order to do that, you have to, first of all, go through, there's about 40 pieces of doctrine, so we haven't got time. But basically, you start with a map, you break it down into small components, and then you use small teams, then you can apply multiple attitudes, and you discover that there's no such thing as one-size-fits-all culture either, blah-de-blah. And it's through the system of theft that you actually manage the evolution of stuff.